call the meeting to order. It's very nice to actually have the audio working, so that's all good. So we do have a quorum. I believe we'll do a roll call. Kim Cashin, Lynn Eisberg is out today. Craig Heber, I'm here. Oh yeah, Lynn is here by Zoom. I hear you, Lynn. Thank you. Fred Myers?
Here.
Dale Pfau?
Here.
Marion Plunder?
Here.
Ray Rothrock?
Here.
Vic Schachter? Here. Jerry Scheffrin? Here. Randy True is out. We have a quorum. Roll call is complete. Are there any oral communications?
Lynn's not taking minutes. Letting you know that.
Good point. Can I ask somebody to take minutes? Fred, do you have the bandwidth to do that this morning? Okay. And it's being recorded, so I can always look at it on Zoom. So,
okay.
Yes, go ahead, Kim.
I also have an AI note recorder on my phone if we want to hit record.
Why don't you do this? I think what might make sense is have Fred take them manually, and why don't you two collaborate and see how it works out? But I think AI is a good idea. Okay.
Speaking of which, doesn't Zoom have a
Zoom does have an AI feature. I have not used it as of yet. So I'm on the learning curve all the time. Okay.
Understand.
Everything else is option.
It's recorded anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
Speak loudly.
Okay. Sounds good.
What was that, Kim? Yeah, yes, okay. I'll try. Okay, so back to oral communications. I didn't hear anybody out in the audience. Anybody in the schoolhouse? Seeing none. We can proceed. So approval of minutes of previous meeting. Is there a motion to approve those? Okay. All in favor? Any abstentions? One abstention. Any negatives? No. Okay. The meeting minutes pass. Oh, yes, her mic wasn't on. Okay. So the agenda has Woodside Fire Protection District giving their presentation. They're not here right now. So I suggest we move on to item 6, which is the Safety Element Ad Hoc Committee report. And then we'll circle back when Woodside Fire Protection shows up. So Dale, do you have some comments on the safety element?
Yes, the committee reviewed the draft safety element as well as the 2006 local multi-hazard mitigation plan and reviewed both of those documents, sent comments to the town as requested. We did that on Monday to make sure they got there on time. And just a little comment for the mayor, the portal that the town uses had a 5 megabit limit.
I saw your note that you couldn't add.
I couldn't, so I had to send them manually because both documents were bigger than 5 megs. So yes. Anyway, so those have been submitted. Lots of comments, particularly on the local hazard mitigation plan, which clearly staff wrote, but the comments period ended the middle of last month and was, as far as I know, was never circulated to any town committees for review. Yep.
Yes, please. Good morning, Craig Taylor.
Good morning.
Good morning, Craig.
So the safety element the staff's been working on, the local hazard mitigation is actually, the county did that work. So the county did that work as part of this long elaborate process. So I think there's room for us to go back and review, but our staff actually didn't spend a lot of time on that. That wasn't the goal. We asked them, given our budget situation, we asked them to focus on getting the safety element done. And the hazard plan is something that's required by the state. I mean, again, my personal opinion, not the opinion of the town, is this is another one of those, things that comes down from the state that costs money and that we're not given any money to do. So yeah, I'm sort of with you, is that I don't think that hazard plan is particularly well crafted for Portola Valley, but by having it, it allows us to apply for grants and stuff. And the requirement is that it exists, not that it's the meaningful document that the grants are
Yeah,
written on.
but Craig, the safety plan references that document all over the place.
Because and it's required by law. I'm not trying to, I hear
And
you.
it's the
Just
one
wanted to
the
put-
one they submitted is wrong.
Well, so your comments hopefully will help correct the wrong parts of it. I just wanted to put it in context of where it came from. So that's just, anyway, I don't think it's an ideal situation is all I wanted to point out. And I think you're pointing it out clearly as well. So thank you.
So the question that I have is, so what does EPC do from here on out? And I had a suggestion perhaps about capturing some of the things that are comments that we had or EPC had. And Craig, could we put an annex or something along those lines that go with the high level county document, or is that something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense?
So I think it's going to be up to staff how that gets incorporated. At a minimum, that in addition to the safety element, there's the safety and resilience list.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be an avenue for collecting all, particularly if it's detailed tasks that we want to work on. I mean, that's going to be a place that we can bring those into the system.
Okay.
And my goal, I still need to take it to the full council. Rebecca and I are working on this. So we still need to take it to the full council. But the goal is to institutionalize that list so that it gets reviewed annually. And as a reminder for council, what things should get budgeted. And as a reminder for committees, what tasks they might take on for the following year. So, but that's not institutionalized yet. But that's our goal, is to try to get it institutionalized.
Okay. And while you're there,
Yeah, sure.
guidance for EPC. Are we done at this point? What is your guidance for the committee?
So I think on the safety element, you're probably done. I mean, I haven't had a chance to, we got the comments. I know Sarah's got them. I haven't had a chance to, but I will. And sure, I think right now, let's let staff figure out how to incorporate this stuff. And then my guess is, unless the council asks for more input from EPC, you're probably done with this piece.
Okay.
But I am going to follow up on the hazard plan because I haven't looked at all the details, and I look forward to your comments to see whether there's more we need to do there.
Okay.
I have a question. It just occurred to me.
Sure.
Would it be good if we as a committee vote on these changes so that there is an official record? No, it doesn't matter. Okay.
I mean, this is all going to staff. I mean, it's up to staff to incorporate this stuff. So I don't think the council's looking for a formal vote. And I think that what we're really looking for, and what's always helpful for all these committees, is to get the comments both into the record and to staff to move along. I mean, that's the real value of all our committees, is a thoughtful review of these things. Getting it formally approved through a motion is yeah. So I don't think we need to do that.
So I had one question before we
Yeah,
take
sure.
another one. And that is to bring it back into the committee. Does the committee want to see all of the comments from the subcommittee before we pass it on? It's already been passed on, but I mean, we can make it available for the committee to look at.
My question, seems like we should see
Sure.
the product. Not that we have to agree or disagree, but just
Understood.
to inform the committee of the points that were brought up and recommended to the town. So if there is a document that went to the town, I think it should come to us just to look at. I don't know if we have to vote on it, but we should certainly see it.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I see no problem with
Oh,
that.
no, I actually had assumed that the committee had looked at it, but I realized the
Okay.
time was short, so you guys.
Yeah,
just
it was very.
So yeah, no, I think that makes total sense.
Sure.
And
let's
if
do
there
that.
are other substantial comments, Let's try to get it in. I believe the deadline was extended. I will double check. I did ask for that. So yeah, well, of course, the next meeting would be after the next. Anyway, staff can incorporate, I mean, if there's substantive changes that you guys, after looking at what the subcommittee did, which I'm guessing was pretty thorough, but if there's other stuff, I mean, we'll find a way to make sure that staff's aware of it. I mean, particularly if it's egregious, then, I mean, we kind of have to fix it whether we met our deadline or not. And you guys, I mean, are an important part of that process. So yeah. So yeah, maybe if you could bring it back to the next meeting and have people just raise any other issues. And then at least everybody on the committee will know what's there. And then, you know,
Yes.
if there's additional discussion, that's as appropriate.
Okay,
Add it to the agenda packet for next month.
yes, okay, we'll do that. All right. If there's anything else, I think we have probably covered it. Item six, but go ahead,
a-
Dale. Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, this isn't, the safety element committee is an ad hoc committee.
Yes,
I think as soon as the town takes action on the safety element, I think the ad hoc committee disappear.
Yeah, if it's, so through our attorney, we've been trying to follow the ad hoc committee process a little more rigorously. So they're only supposed to last for, you know, at most a few months. And when they deliver the defined deliverable, that when they were chartered, so to speak, they stop existing.
But we may have questions, may have more deliverables if it comes back. So that's why I'm saying.
Sure, and I think given it's a committee, not the council, you can probably be a little more flexible. The other thing is you can always, as a group, reconstitute a committee, right? I mean,
yes,
the main thing is to be clear what the charter for the ad hoc group is. So that you're clear, like the ad hoc committee is going to go off and review the safety element, review the hazard plan, and then put comments in. Once you've done that, that committee is done. It doesn't get to be a standing committee that talks about stuff. And a little bit like some of the stuff we've been doing, and I don't understand why, I've been on the EPC as well, where we have these long running subcommittees. I mean, technically they're supposed to have a purpose, but I think we've been enforcing that at the council level, less so sort of at the individual committee level. But technically that's the way we should be doing it.
okay.
But we, like I said, we can always reconstitute committees with
Yeah.
a new list of things to work on.
Mhm.
Does that help?
Dale, does that answer your question? Satisfied? Not satisfied?
It kind of is what I mean, it just,
I get the flavor of what you're saying
Sure.
is we can always and we've established what we set out to do. Open it back up again too.
well, technically you would doing a new committee,
Okay.
but you get the idea.
Yes.
I mean,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
So anyway, I don't want to get you into the Brown Act complicated logistics, but you guys get the general drift of what's going on.
Okay, I think it makes sense.
Greg, I don't think you necessarily have to reopen it. You can just come back to the EPC. if there are
Right.
Questions and the whole EPC.
Yeah.
And along with, you know, guidance of people who are on
Right.
the subcommittee make a decision.
Right. Yes, I understand that. Okay. I think that covers item 6.
I'll be right here.
And if it doesn't, Craig will be right here. That's a spring-loaded chair, isn't it? Okay. So moving on to item 7, this is that monthly committee event series. The last time we talked about this, if I recall, the field day / emergency preparedness / safety day was one of those that we thought of, and it's been completed. I don't know that there's any kind of real drive here, so I just left it on the agenda to close it out if we don't have any ideas or plans about that, and we can always revisit it if something comes up. I have not looked at our budget yet, but it was a line item on the budget. So it may have already been budgeted, and the funds may be available for us to do something like this. But again, I'll ask for agenda items before the next meeting. And if somebody comes up with an idea about what they want to do or what the committee wants to do along these lines, those are obviously more than welcome. Are there any comments about item 7? Hearing none. Oh. Yeah, and that was yes, and that's what I tried to capture is I think field day was, satisfies this. So. But we spent $0. That's correct. Yes. Okay. So subcommittee reports. Kim, you're up for EOC.
Good morning. For the EEOC, we are continuing to meet on Mondays at the town hall. And we have been mostly focused recently on getting the EOC position checklist developed. So we've moved from completing the EOC manager checklist. We've been working on legal position checklist, and I think we've started the liaison position checklist. So just moving through those and what those are for folks that would like to know and better understand. When you activate the Emergency Operations Center, you're also activating certain positions that are standardized within an EOC, and the positions each have pre-activation tasks to complete. They have activation tasks to complete, and then they have deactivation tasks to complete. So there's a series of tasks for each position, and they have to be they have to adhere to standardized tasks that an EOC carries out, but then also they have to be kind of customized to the jurisdiction based on what the jurisdiction has in terms of resources and so forth. So we're following the national standards as well as customizing. So it's just fine-tooth combing a lot of these tasks for each position.
All right, thanks. Yeah, Jerry, go ahead. Hey, Jerry, could you speak into the microphone a little more, please?
Pardon?
Could you speak into the microphone a little bit so we can capture it? Thank you.
When do you think we would see a draft or the product?
So a lot of these documents remain in the EOC. It's not considered a public draft like an EOP would be. So if you'd like to visit the EOC on Mondays, I can certainly walk you through what's in the red binder so far. But that documentation isn't something that we produce publicly or push out on any website. Most jurisdictions keep those within held within the staff and within the government employee side.
You said it's got people's phone numbers, personal contact. It's not the role, but it's the person, personally identifying people on the federal government that help us react.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, I welcome, since we started last, I believe, September, we've been there most Mondays. I mean, I would say I take a vacation every now and then, and I do have work commitments sometimes that take precedent, but most Mondays I'm there. Craig is there, and Lynn Iceberg is also there, and we're just kind of plugging away Monday by Monday.
I'm just curious. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an important document, and I know you've
Yeah.
been working hard on it for a long time. So, and since it's our subcommittee, it does seem logical somehow that people on the EPC would peek at it now and then.
Yeah, and it's not just one document. I don't want to mislead the group. These are multiple documents kind of comprise, and they go into one binder, right? There is like an EOC guide, for example, that is one document. We can perhaps talk to the mayor and the town manager and see if that's something that we would maybe consider redacting information in there. But again, those types of documents aren't generally publicly made, but an EOP, for example, is, because it's high level, it's conceptual, and it's not getting into the minute details of what goes on within the jurisdiction's response. So.
Yeah, I would encourage anyone from EPC to go and take a look. So I think it's a great idea to Jerry to go and take a look. Can you turn your mic back on, please?
Can you,
Yes.
just email me the time and where you'll.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
And or Kim.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Do it on a,
no problem.
secret email so that.
No, that's not a problem. Okay.
I'm kidding.
Generally,
Go ahead.
we're there on Mondays. The time slot was 9 to 11. I now have a standing work meeting, so on Monday morning. So the time has shifted from 10 to noon. But I am going on vacation the next 2 weeks, so I will not be there. I would like to be there, just to really be able to walk you through. So, if you would like to come maybe in a couple of weeks, I can email you separately about timing.
Okay, thanks. I think that closes out 8A.
Just one quick comment.
Yes,
I
please.
think, Kim and this subcommittee deserve a huge commendation because this has been a mess in the town, God, ever since I've been on this committee. It was done years and years ago, but it's been incorrect for a very long time. And if we hired a consultant to do this, the town could not afford this.
Mhm.
So I think this is just huge, and it's, it's our number one committee's goal, and I'm really supportive of the effort. So thanks, Kim.
So you could submit an invoice to the town and we'll see what happens. But I just want to also recognize your incredible contributions to this. I mean, it's been many months that you've been working on this, and I get to see the results occasionally, and it's very impressive. So thank you. Okay, communications. Ray, you're up. Don't forget to cue your mic.
Okay, good morning. So three items here. One, we did have the Emergency Preparedness and Safety Day on Saturday. It was, I think, a roaring success. You saw all the pictures, or at least I sent them out to the groups that I had emails for. Participating was the WPV CERT led by Mark Dolan. They had a pretty substantial presence, as well as they rolled up their trailer and showed everybody what was going on there. We also had the Wildfire Prevention Committee, our preparation committee was there. So that was new to this year's activities. And then we had the Toll Valley Woodside Amateur Radio Group doing their field day exercise, which was quite successful. We had no technical issues. We added a few little flourishes this year, which got a lot of high five remarks. So I'd say it was a pretty good success. I can't let it go by that we don't thank the Woodside Fire Department for letting us use their place at Station 8. It's a perfect location. From a radio point of view, it's just ideal. So anyway, thanks to them for that. I wish they were here. I would stand up and give them an applause, but we can do that separately. The second thing, AM radio, all good deeds, no good deed goes unpunished. Right in the middle of Saturday at the field day, a very friendly citizen came up and put his finger in the middle of my chest and said, where the blank, sorry about that. The network is operational. That's my morning signal, says I'm healthy. Thank you. Came up and put his finger in my chest and said, where the was the AM radio when the big fire we had blowing a week ago Friday. And I said, well, sir, I said, it is not my judgment or jurisdiction to change the message. I have to be instructed by the town. And I indicated, so Craig, you might think about this. I said, go speak to Darcy. She was walking in. Also, Rebecca was there. And anyway, I said, look, I said, you're right. perhaps someone should have thought about that and changed the message. And it's real easy to do. We've got it totally automated. But, please take your finger out of my chest. The good news of that is he's paying attention. And I thought that was actually wonderful feedback, that this thing is actually there and it's actually operational. So I think that's something either this committee or the town needs to, we got to figure that out. What's the tripwires for changing the message? And that would have been a good one because it was blowing. And the wind was blowing and the fire was moving. And anyway, they got it all put out. So that's the good news. Third, Fred put out an email to this subcommittee, just I think either this morning or yesterday, about power. There was a meeting and so forth. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Fred, but it's a good email and a good request. And I'll let you speak, but I'll just tell you that there's been a lot of, I feel like you're reinventing a little bit of the wheel, and maybe we need to just all reconnoiter on what we know about the generator and stuff like that. So anyway, Fred, go ahead.
Before you do that,
Okay.
so it's my mistake. I forgot to put that on the agenda. We did form a subcommittee for that. So I
okay.
mean, we can do it now, but it just as a heads up, it'll be on the agenda
Okay,
next
well,
time.
he sent an email to this subcommittee, which is why I brought it up under my
Correct. Yes. Yeah. You
8B.
yes, that is correct.
Got it.
So,
Anyway,
so Fred, if you'd like to talk about power and what is it called? Power and resiliency, resilient power. Anyway,
Yeah,
please go
I think,
ahead.
we, at the last meeting called it power and communications resiliency. And so part of that was in response to Darcy's comment at the last meeting about the power outages that we had and some folks out in town having issues at their personal residences, and then also having some communications challenges at the town center and being able to use the Starlink. And so there was questions about the generator and maybe what circuits it's powering or not powering and what they were able to get accomplished. So in response to that, as part of the subcommittee, I did send an email to Darcy requesting a meeting, get a handle of what they're looking for or what the problems might be. And she got me in touch with Rebecca Flynn, who is working on a battery backup solution or potential opportunity for the library specifically, it seems. And so she then invited me to a meeting with Westlight Energy, which is formerly Peninsula Clean Energy. And so a lot of the information we were trying to get there is basically where does the town center stand now with regards to generators, solar panels, what the needs are for 72 hours of power. And so the same thing goes for the library. If that's going to be kind of a refuge center in an emergency situation, what does it need for 72 hours of power? And so right now it's just very much gathering information on the energy side of things. And so, there's a lot of basic stuff like which power meters are for the library and which power meters are for the town center. So there's a bunch of just kind of basic information we're trying to gather right now to try and determine some of that. That's totally separate from the communications side of things. So I haven't gotten to dig in on that just yet, but so there's plenty of more work to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very good. I'll put your subcommittee on the agenda for next time. And apologize for not having it this time, but good report. Thank you. If there's no comments about that report, we can go to evacuation. Dale, anything to report?
Now that the fire marshal is here, one of the things we are still waiting for is for our temporary refuge areas. We've been waiting for a little bit, and I know that there's work being on, but if we could get those, then we could finalize our evacuation plan.
What is a refuge area?
It's a place, and there are state requirements for it, where if you can't get out of town, you can go
Ah.
to, so a fire can't get you. And when they had the camp, the big fire up in Paradise, people who went to the refuge area survived.
Yeah.
People who got stuck on the roadway did not.
Is it the same like shelter in place?
No, shelter in place is when you stay in your house.
Oh, okay.
A refuge area is, you know, like perhaps the Priory Fields. I don't know. There's state requirements of how far away and what the heat is and how many trees and so on.
So Kim, would you like to make some comments about that?
Good morning,
Fire
everybody.
Marshal.
First, my apologies for my delay in arrival. Sometimes urgent things come up that I don't have control over. So, but now being here, Craig, we did receive your email. I prepared a response for the refuge areas, but I knew since I was going to be here, I can kind of report on that. So in the evacuation plan that was written for the town, we wanted to make sure the distinction and is put out to the public on the differences between the temporary refuge area and then the community refuge area.
Oh.
The first distinction is with FEMA and OES and on a higher level, the TRAs, the temporary refuge areas, were their development for firefighters so that when they are fighting fires, sometimes they are overcome. They can deploy shelters in these areas. And it's like Dale said, it's very specific. It's specific areas where, depending topography, vegetation, it's an area that they can go to and seek refuge while the fire front comes through and blows over. But again, they're trained for that. They know how to deploy their shelters. They're protected. And as Dale pointed out, it was successful in the Paradise Fire. The community refuge areas, which are some areas that have been identified in the district, I have expressed this before, and I know it's something that everybody feels is important to put in the evacuation plan for residents. However, the district still feels very strongly that it is not in the best interest of the public to put that out there because we don't want there to be any kind of misunderstanding and in their mind thinking that they're going to be safe by going to these places. Though I do understand when you have no other choice, something is better than nothing. But we just don't want people to feel like, oh, if I go to this specific area, instead of just continuing on Alpine or Portola Road to get out, because our district is so limited the way we are built, that you're better off just getting out of the district. Don't stop, just keep going. But again, I understand to the point of when you have no other choice, what's the best case scenario. So if we do put these things in the evacuation plan, there's going to be the disclaimer of that's not the education we want the public to have in their minds, that they are going to be safe by going to these areas. They need to continue and get out of the district. Because in a state of panic and fear, that's going to be the one thing they remember is, oh, go here, not, oh, keep getting out. You know, the way people think during an emergency and high stress, that's what we want to stress to them is for that to be in their minds, get out, get out, get out, not this is where you can go kind of thing. So I leave that up to the town and what the town wants to decide with that for the evacuation plan. The evacuation plans will certainly outline the TRAs for the firefighters because that is part of that plan for the higher level first responders if they needed a place to seek shelter while the fire is through. But anyway, I have a long, good response that I'm providing to Craig that he can share with the committee through communications and emails that actually outlines the differences and the priorities and why they're set in that way. But again, the district will give that recommendation, but it's up to the town on how they want to proceed if they want to outline this in the evacuation plan for residents or not. So that's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And when you were referring to Craig, is that Craig Taylor or Craig Heber?
No, Craig, you.
Craig,
Did you sent
Yes.
him? Yeah.
I sent yeah, that's no problem. So yes, so to clarify, I did send an email off to the fire chief asking him some questions and so forth. So I can put that in the agenda too for full transparency for next time. So again, I was asking these kinds of questions. And without going down a rabbit hole, just for I totally understand, having plan A and plan B. And I get the whole thing about incentives and so forth. So, and I think the way you address it is fine. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate the clarity. So, don't go away because we want to ask you another question. You can, why don't you, let me finish up the rest of the agenda and then come back to the other issue or the other topic.
Greg, quickly, can I
Yes.
just ask, Kim, were you suggesting that we would have these designated areas, but we wouldn't advertise them?
We wouldn't want to advertise them. We don't want people to go to any refuge area. That's not what we want to put in people's minds.
But then what's the point of having them?
You have them for the firefighters because they're the ones who are staying back in the community to fight the fire. So larger communities, like if you were in, I don't know, Menlo Park, San Francisco, like any or Tahoe, larger areas that have more egress and egresses out, they cover a lot more land. They can put those areas out there because it takes longer to get out of their city or their towns. Whereas here we're limited. And when you do get to the main roads, you're already on your way out. You should just keep going out. Because the other side of it is if you are in a danger, you're better off in your structure, staying in there if you needed to, than you are being on the road trying to get out.
I'm not in a position to judge, whether that's the best option or not. I just think that it's would be nice to sort of see the strategy and for the EPC to comment on whether that seems to fit our view of what the community wants.
Well, with all due respect, on the other side, it's not really what the community wants. It's what the trained professionals recommend based on experience and knowledge. So residents only know so much. And when we educate them, it's not what they want. It's what is needed to keep them safe. And sometimes other authorities know more on a wide scale because residents don't know. If you go to a temporary refuge area or community refuge area, let's just say, you don't know where the fire front's coming and in what direction and what speed. You have no idea. We have that information, but we're not on a communication level to be able to give that to people. Our direction would be, you need to take these roads. This road's closed. Don't go that route. Go this route. Get out. That's what we're going to be doing to get people safely out. So that's the big concern is residents have no idea what they're being surrounded with. They can see smoke. They know something's going on, and that becomes a concern.
Yeah, go ahead, Vic.
So what education as of now has been given to the residents with respect to these procedures?
We don't push out anything about refuge areas. It's when you're under evacuation, you're getting out. If you're on warning, you're staying put to allow the evacuees to get out because we don't want to clog up the roads either. That's going to be part of the goal of this exercise is we're targeting a location that is very limited on getting out. And when they're trying to get out and we have emergency responses getting in on those narrow roads that we have, it's going to really bring to light what those challenges are. And that's only on one part of the district, right? So that's again, what the exercise is for, because we'll be able to see, we have modeling that has already been done on traffic and evacuation with fire. We see what it looks like ideally through modeling. Now we're going to put that model to the test and really see how accurate it is, because it is going to be chaos. It is going to be a mess. It is going to be challenging. But again, it's to see how can we improve and learn from those challenges. So when it really does happen, we already have an idea of how we're going to be able to attack these things. So, I mean, again, that's a big point of the exercise is really to test the system and see how it goes.
So my related question is, what education has been given about the exercise and its purpose?
Oh, the exercise that hasn't been publicly, other than town council meeting, it has not been publicly put out. We're working on that this week of getting the public announcement out between this week and next week. Because of 4th of July, we were preparing it to send out for next week and want to get past 4th of July. But the public announcement will provide a link to our website that we have that gives them how to prepare, what to expect, all the details and information, and then the goals of the exercise.
So hang on just a second. Let me help the conversation a little bit, I think. So can you zoom back out? And what you're talking about now is this exercise that is scheduled for September 11th. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what I've asked, by the way, I've asked him to talk to us about what that exercise is and including, well, what role, if any, do we have? And what does Woodside Fire Protection District want from us, if anything? And also, you know, the town. So with that being said, giving you kind of this platform to talk to, please address these issues and talk to us about it.
Sure, I'm happy to do that and do a report. I just didn't know if you wanted to finish your agenda first.
No,
I don't, okay.
I think we've already introduced
Okay.
it. So, and then we'll clean up the agenda at the end of one item to finish on that, but please go ahead.
Okay. So the exercise, it's a community-wide evacuation exercise that is going to take place in the Los Trancos area. That will be taking place on Friday, September 11th. We're looking at starting the exercise roughly at 9 o'clock. On our website, we've put down the whole entire schedule of the breakdown of 9 o'clock. The way it's going to start is through a WE alert. Let me just describe the exercise and then I'll tell you about the events leading up to the exercise of what we'll be doing. So on the day of the exercise, residents in the Los Trancos area that are immediately affected by the fire, it's going to take place in Buck Meadows, where there's going to, or slightly below Buck Meadows, Los Trancos Road, there's going to be we changed our scenario. It was recommended we do a vehicle fire because we've had so many of them recently. So starting with a vehicle that is catching fire, catches the vegetation, starts to run up the Los Trancos hill area and immediately affecting the Redberry Ridge area. So we'll start evacuating those areas. And the way the residents will know that there's an immediate evacuation, a WE alert, which is basically the best way to describe it. When you get those amber alerts that everybody gets, it's the same kind of alert. And with that kind of alert, it doesn't matter where you are geographically. It affects a geographical area, not people, so that if people are driving into that area that's already been geo-fenced as being an area that you need to be out of, those people, as soon as they enter that zone, they'll get that alert as well. So it's different from an SMC alert, which is an opt-in system. We will not be utilizing the SMC alert for that immediate evacuation because that's not the level of urgency. SMC alert is a lower level. This is what's going on, nothing like of urgent, but it's more informational or maybe an action you need to take that's not urgent. Whereas a WE alert is an immediate, urgent, highest level of communication that gets out to residents. So it'll start with the alert. Those evacuees will start to make their way to evacuate, while as our Woodside Fire personnel are going to start going into the area. We have invited partner agencies, CAL FIRE, Menlo Park Fire, Redwood City Fire, PG&E, Cal Water, Large Animal Rescue, Department of Emergency Management, Public Works. So we're making this scenario as real as possible to include all the agencies because all the agencies take large part in it. We're also going to be sending out an announcement to the amateur radio for Portola Valley, to that group, because we are going to be utilizing the radios. We would like to try that part of the radio system. WPV CERT will be active in it. I'll get into EPC committee in a minute. But as far as the resources that we're going to be utilizing, we want to tax every single resource because we want to see where we're missing or what we're lacking. With the emergency fire response, that's going to be for them to work together under unified command, which is something they do frequent in training, but never been done on like an actual wildfire because we haven't had too many. We have worked a lot with Redwood and CAL FIRE, but this would be a different scenario. And then the sheriffs. The sheriffs will also be obviously involved in it. They're a large part of the evacuation. So that's kind of the exercise in itself. We're going to finish with the evacuees heading to town center for the community hall. That's going to be the meeting place. That's where we will do a debrief. We will also be having a vendor fair with some vendors that do home hardening and some education on defensible space, and then some food and refreshments at the end. And it'll give time for residents to interact with the first responders, to ask questions, to meet the people who would be involved if something were to happen here. So it'll be a great exchange of ideas and information at that point. Now, leading up from now until then, we already sent out a letter to all the agencies and all our partners that would be involved in the drill. All of them have all responded, minus large animal evacuation. I need to get back in touch with them, but everyone else is happy and excited to be a part of the exercise and to learn from it. And then we are working, like I said, the public announcement going out to the public, but also going out to the PV Amateur Radio Committee, as well as the EPC and the CERT. There will be getting specific letters for what we're going to be asking for that level of participation. With the EPC, we're looking at the partnership of assisting us to get the information out, not just to the public, but organizing specific. For example, one thing we are asking if can be brought up at the next, added to an agenda item for your next meeting, is to discuss the challenges we may have for populations that have access, who have access needs, people with accessibility issues. And so that is something that for all you to discuss and see if we can work together on a plan of how we would address that to assist those people in the community in general. And there's Cal OES does have a document that addresses it, but we would need assistance with that. As far as the CERT, we'll have specific things for CERT. We're coming up with a list of information of how we would like to utilize CERT, and it'll be a great time to bridge the works of CERT with the fire district and seeing how we can utilize staff members deploying the command center, utilizing the radio system on that side, and then so utilizing our district radio. And then let me see, what else am I missing? I think, and then the announcement just to the public. So other than that, and then for the public, we're going to be sending out information to them with the high-low sirens. We want people to be educated on what that sounds like. The sheriffs and fire engines, we are all equipped with the high-low sirens, which is what's being used as a means of a tool for evacuation. So for them, when they hear that driving through their neighborhoods, that means that they're under evacuation. So we'll be sending out, there's a great video that CAL FIRE did on what that high-low sirens are. So we're going to be pushing that out through social media channels, on our flyers, on our website, getting the word out as much as we can. We do have our Instagram account called Learn, Survive, Prepare, which we're trying to get as many subscribers on that platform. We put out a video every week that gives information on what the district is doing in the district, whether it's right-of-way work, chipping work, CERT at classes, whatever important messaging. So that's where we're also going to be pushing a lot of those updates and educational tools. There'll be a link to our website that gives residents a list of the things that they need to be aware of to be prepared for the exercise day, being subscribed to. We really are pushing watch duty out for people to utilize. We're kind of redirecting we are refocusing away from the zone haven use to a more of a watch duty use, because I think at the end of the day, people knowing zones and looking and I feel like that's when I came here, I was like, this is a lot more confusing. We've been monitoring and working with watch duty a lot with the actual developers of watch duty on the accuracy and information updates. So just so that people are aware of what's going on and they're pretty up to date with what comes out. They're pretty savvy on that. And again, it's not a zone number. You can just put in an address and it tells you what's going on at that address. So lots of things that will be leading up to the day of the event. Thank you.
Greg, just a quick question.
Go ahead, Dick.
Included in the communication to the residents, is the Portola Valley Network one of the networks that you're going to use?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Because
You
that
mean
is-
the forum, right? The PV
Yes, the
forum?
forum.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
because that obviously is
That's-
very, very
Yep.
well-known, and I think
Yes.
important to include.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than that platform, all the IO channels that we have for all the PV, all the different communities. So we're sending out the same information to all of them, including our Firewise leaders. I mean, we're putting it out as so we can get the word spread as much as we can.
And I'm assuming within that information is what's expected of the community.
Exactly.
When that exercise is going on.
Exactly, yeah. So that they're completely aware, they're prepared, and we're trying to increase the level, because again, participation is huge, which is why the ending with the vendor fair and the refreshments and snacks, try to engage people to want to participate.
Right.
Because if people don't participate, it kind of, it's not going to be as successful as we want it to be. So that will be, so that's the big push. But we know the Los Trancos community fairly well. We know that they're very active. They're already really excited about the whole thing. We just finished wildland training in the Los Trancos area this past month. So that was great because it worked with Blue Oak Subdivision and Blueberry Ridge and Los Trancos and Vista. So they were very engaged in that exercise. So now we're going to utilize that. That's why we're kind of using that area, because we did the wildland training there. And now we're doing the other side of it, of the response with the community.
Okay, Kim, thank you very much. I have a couple of follow-ups, or just one in general. It sounds like you have an expectation for EPC to get involved with what I captured as challenges with access. My request, and I think for the EPC, would be we need some details on what you're looking for, and then we can kind of figure out how we would act and what actions we would take and who would be doing those kinds of things. So going forward, what's the best way to get that kind of information to us? I don't know that you've even
Should I
formulated
send
it.
it to the chairs, or?
You can send it to the chair and then
Okay.
I'll distribute it.
Okay,
That's not a problem.
okay.
When could we expect to see that?
Within the next week or so. We've
Okay.
already been working on it. Kim had already asked for an IAP.
The IAP.
We're working on that to get
Okay.
complete and get that information to you.
Okay. And
I
just
have
to
a
follow up just a little bit on that, just to make us aware of the schedule, is we only have 2 additional
Mhm.
meetings for EPC before this happens. So I think we need to move fairly quickly. And thus, finally, an administrative issue. I will probably be out of town on that day. So I probably am going to miss it. And I wouldn't want to, but I don't think I have any choice. So that's kind of an internal thing for the committee. Those are my follow-ups. So Kim, you had a question.
No, just to tie into the access and functional needs question, I would recommend putting together an ad hoc subcommittee that can compile an analysis for this. Maybe just come up with like a 2-page report on how, what we would recommend to the town and the fire district in terms of supporting that part of the community.
Yep.
Other jurisdictions go through the same thing. There's been some data pushed out. Cal OES has some good documentation, but really it becomes, again, customizable to the jurisdiction on what they want to do and how they want to broach that.
Yeah, understood. As a matter of fact, in my notes, I have the word subcommittee and 2 question marks after that. So I think that's a great idea. Let's form a subcommittee. I would like you to head it, if you can, because you're probably the most knowledgeable person. Dale, can I have you get on that subcommittee? Okay, so I would like a 3rd person if the people have bandwidth for that. I'm not a good choice because I'm probably going to be out of town, but I'm willing to do it until I have to excuse myself.
Yeah, I would ask if anybody had experience working with any of the senior communities like the Sequoias or assisted living and other capacities. That would be helpful.
I would also recommend whoever is going to be on that subcommittee, reaching out to places like the Sequoias, and San Mateo County has a great, for the vulnerable population, they have some great documents that I'm sure we can get them to share some documents as well.
Jerry, would you have the bandwidth for that subcommittee to be a member?
I'm going to be gone probably mid-August or mid-July to mid-August. So that's my.
Yes, yeah. Okay, understood. Well, let's do
I
this.
mean, we could also do it online or,
Lynn,
Okay, so we have a third member, Lynn just volunteered. And I'll poke my nose into it every now and then, but so let's duly noted subcommittee for this. Kim is the lead, Dale and Lynn, and I'm kind of pinch hitting from time to time as my bandwidth allows. And the primary contact, if we want to talk to Woodside Fire Protection, that's you, Kim, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I think that settles that. Okay. And we'll certainly put it on the agenda for next time. And if we need to do a special meeting, we can always do that too. So, okay.
Can I just
Yes, Jerry, go ahead.
comment to Kim? Could you just put down somehow on a piece of paper that says, here's the ways you will be notified if
That's
you
all
need
in there.
to evacuate.
Yes.
And that should be on the website, and it should be
Yes.
maybe mailed to every single household in Portola Valley.
We've tried the mailing. We just don't do it anymore because people don't get it. Well, they get it, but they just don't see it.
They ignore
Or
it.
they don't read it. But yes, we are also purchasing, we're going to be ordering banners to put throughout the district that has a link and a QR code that takes you to the website where all those details would also be listed. And then we're putting the information out on the forum. So, but obviously it's all going to direct back to our website because that's where all the main details will be, just as you're asking, Jerry.
I think if you label that document evacuation in case of fire in Portola Valley,
They'll read
people
it.
would open it and read it. And if not, you don't need to worry about that person.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's go back to the agenda for a moment, unless there's any final comments on this, but I think we've got that in good order.
Okay.
So 8D is Neighborhood and Resilience Outreach. Vic, do you have anything on that? Okay, nothing further. And 8E is ad hoc. Oh, stand by. Hang on. Lynn, let me pick you up in a second. Ad hoc. We've already covered that. So Lynn, go back to 8D Neighborhood. Go ahead.
Well, on the neighborhood outreach, we started our preparedness challenge. And today started week 1, and it was posted in the forum this morning. So it was a great collaboration with our very own Ace Hardware, who will be offering 15% off on items posted for hardware purchases, and then hardware store purchases. And then the Woodside Fire is creating a merit badge for each family member who's participating in the 24-week challenge. You can stop by 808 and pick up their merit badge at the end of the challenge. So it's a great community effort that by December 10th, everybody should be able to shelter in place in their homes and be good for 7 days. So who participate. But I got a little bit of feedback that that there's some enthusiasm out there, and we'll see what happens. So is for 24 we the forum created for emergency preparedness a hashtag emergency prep that can be used for communicating anything we want to share. So thank you to the forum. Thank you to Ace Hardware. Thank you to Woodside Fire. And thank you for everybody for Craig on our hike, when I met you on the hike and you said, this is something you've been wanting to see happen. So Craig Taylor, thank you.
Okay, Lynn, thank you very much. Yeah, that's a great report and congratulations on moving that forward. I think that is it. Our next meeting is August 6th. I won't ask for a quorum check right now. I will ping you via email. With that being said, I think we are adjourned. Motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Okay, great. We're adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks in the audience. We had a good turnout in the audience too. I recognize many people out there. So thanks again. See you later.